Dear friends, welcome to the science class. In the last class, we completed a topic named as separations of the substance. Separation of the substances. In that topic, we discussed some separation techniques, including hand picking, threshing, winnowing, and magnetic separation, sieving. Those are the case of the solids. In the same manner, we discussed about the filtration, we discussed about the evaporation, we discussed about the decantation, we discussed about the sedimentation, and at last we discussed about the condensation. By using those techniques, we are going to separate some substances which are present in the mixture. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about the exercise questions which are related to those separation techniques. So in that first question, which is given in your exercise question, is nothing but what? It is, why do we need to separate different components of a mixture? Give two examples. The first question which is given here is, why do we need to separate different components of a mixture? Give two examples. So why do we need to separate different components of a mixture? So before that, what is a mixture? Mixture is nothing but it is made from the two or more substances. Mixture is nothing but it is made from the two or more substances. If you take the example of the tea, it is made from the tea, sugar, tea leaves, everything. So there it is a mixture. In the same way, if you take the soil contains iron, soil contains soil particles, soil contains dust particles, soil contains plastic particles, everything it contains, and it contains the bacteria. Same soil is also a mixture. If you take the example of the air is also a mixture. Why? It contains all type of gases. So mixture is nothing but it is the combination of two or more substances. So what is the need for separating those mixtures, different components of a mixture? Right? Already discussed, we know that mixture contains two or more components. So if you take the example of the tea only, right? In that mixture, some components are not useful, some components are useful, essential, and some components are not useful, non-essential. So then the non-essential parts should be converted or should be separated from the essential parts. In some cases, there will be a mixture which contains both the essential parts, essential components, but we require those essential components separately. For that reason also we are going to separate the different components of a mixture. So one case, to separate the impurities from the mixture, impure components from mixture, we are going to separate those things. In the same manner, in a mixture there is two or three components which are essential for us, but in separate manner. For that reason also we are going to separate those mixtures. So if you want to give an example here, give two examples here. You can take the example of the tea. You can take the example of the first tea leaves from the tea. Tea leaves from the liquid. Tea leaves from the liquid. Is it tea leaves are essential for us? Are we going to eat the tea leaves or we are going to drink the tea leaves? No, it is not possible since tea leaves are harmful, poisonous. Sometimes it is, some impurities are poisonous. For that reason, it is not essential for us. It is an impurity. For that reason, we are going to separate tea leaves from the liquid. So this is the example. First example. If you want to take the second example, we are going to take the second example. That is nothing but separation of the butter from the curd or milk. Separation of the butter from curd or milk. We already know that butter is also essential for us, as well as milk is also essential for us. But together we can't take the curd and butter and milk. For that reason, we have to separate butter and we have to separate milk. So that we are going to take the milk separately, we are going to take the butter separately. Together we are not going to take those things. Butter is the for purpose of the making the ghee. So that we are going to get the ghee from the butter. For that reason, we are going to separate two essential components. You can write that example also. Or else you can write another example like separation of the dust particles from the grains or sand particles from the grain. So grains or dust particles or stone particles are not essential for us. Those are the impurities. So we are going to separate those things from those grain particles. So that grains are important for us. Together we are not going to take. Those are going to harm us. The stone particles are going to harm us. Because of that, we are going to separate those things. So you can write that example also. That is nothing but separation of the stone from the grains. Separation of stone from the grains. So this is the answer for the first question. I hope this is clear. Now second question. What is winnowing and where is it used? What is winnowing and where is it used? If you remember the previous class while discussing about the separation techniques, we discussed about the winnowing. So what is the winnowing? We have done an activity that we are going to take some sand particles as well as we are going to take some husk particles or we are going to take some plastic particles, whatever, so that we are going to mix it. We are going to mix it and we are going to take a stool. On that stool we are going to stand and we are going to take a soap. In that soap we are going to add that mixture and going to incline that soap with some angle so that whatever the mixture which is present in that is going to fall down. While falling from the top, falling from an height, the lighter particles which are present in that mixture are going to blown away by the air. They are going to blown away by the air, and the heavier particles are going to fall down in a container. So that lighter particles are separated, heavier particles are separated. So that method is nothing but what? It is the winnowing. It is winnowing. So we can define winnowing as it is the process of separation of the lighter particles from the heavier particles by the action of what? By the action of the air. By the action of the air. So this question number second, main question number, answer for the winnowing is nothing but it is the separation of it is the process of separation of, you can take it as it is the process of separation of lighter particles from heavier particles, lighter particles from heavier particles by the action of heavier particles by the action of air, or wind, right? By the action of air or wind. Air or wind. Right? Always remember, we don't know that lighter particle may be impure or it may be essential. In the same manner, the heavier particle may be impure or essential. Whatever it may be, for separating to a mixture which contains a lighter particle as well as heavier particle, which can be done, and those should be in solid form only. If they are in liquid form, it is not possible. If they are in solid form only, by using the action of wind or air, we are going to separate those things. So this is nothing but winnowing. So where it is used? Where we are going to use the winnowing? If you remember that in the fields, farmers are going to use, we are going to see our parents, they are going to do the winnowing. While after the harvesting of the wheat or after harvesting of the maize, so that they are going to use some soups, and that soup they are going to take those grains and they are going to separate the lighter husk particles from the heavier grain particles. That's nothing but lighter husk particles from the heavier seed particles. That's nothing but it is the wheat particles. So where it is used? It is used in the process of separating of the husk particles from the wheat after the harvesting. Husk particles from the wheat after the harvesting. This method is used. That's nothing but winnowing, and it is used largely used by the farmers. It is largely used by the farmers by separating the grains from the husk particles, or wheat from the husk particles, or maize from the husk particles. So this is the answer for the second question. Now next, third question. How will you separate husk or dirt particles from a given sample of a pulses before cooking? Right? How will you separate a husk or dirt particles from a given sample of a pulses before cooking? So everyone knows that before cooking, everyone is going to wash the pulses. Right? How they are going to wash? They are going to separate some husk as well as dirt particles. One by the hand picking. They are going to take those things, those pulses in soup, right? In that soup, they are going to handpick the dirt particles. Those are different size. Those are the different size. As well as the dirt particles, which have the different size, they are going to be separated by the hand picking. Since the quantity of those dust as well as dust particles is small in those pulses, but the quantity of the pulses will be higher. And pulses in some cases pulses will be larger, in some cases pulses will be smaller. By the different in the sizes, by the hand picking method, we are going to separate those things. Before cooking, what we are going to do, another thing that we are going to wash the pulses, so that whatever the impurity, that is nothing but smaller particles, that is nothing but dirt particles which are present in those things, are going to wash away by the water, so that those things are going to mix with that water, and when you decant that water, those things are separated. So you have to write just only the hand picking method here. Hand picking method here. Before cooking, we are going to wash it, but it is another method. In this answer, we just write out the hand picking. That is nothing but by the hand picking method, we are going to separate the husk and dust particles from a given sample of a pulses before the cooking. So this is the answer for the third question. Now what is sieving? Fourth question. What is sieving? Where is it used? What is sieving and where is it used? So name itself suggests that sieving is nothing but sieve. We are going to use the sieve there. So in that case, what is sieving is going to do? Sieving is going to separate the smaller particles from the larger particles. Smaller particles are from the larger particles. The tiny particles are separated from the larger particles. If you remember, when discussing about sieving, I have drawn a diagram like this. In that diagram, it is the sieve, and these are the holes of the sieve. These are the holes of the sieve. And can I take a chaniki? We are going to use the chaniki for the purpose of separating small dirt particles from the grain particles. Right. As well as in the mixing, while doing the separation of the smaller sand particles from the larger sand particles, while constructing the building, we are also going to do the sieving method, so that larger sand particles will remain upside and the smaller sand particles are going to come and collect in a container. So in that case also we are going to use the sieving method. So sieving is like this. We are going to use the sieve here. Depending on the size of that particles, the smaller minute tiny particles are going to pass through these holes or pores. Pass through these pores, and the larger particles are going to remain in the sieve only. So by this saying, the smaller particles are separated and larger particles are separated. So, right, the smaller particles which have the smaller in size than the pores which are present here. So those things are going to pass through it, and the larger particles are going to remain here only. The same manner to differentiate, if you want to get a smooth soil, very powdery form of soil, we are going to use the sieve only. Right. The same manner for the purpose of separating the tiny particles which are present in this phase, we are going to separate the grit from the tiny particles, tiny impurities, we are going to use the sieve only. Right. In the same manner for the separating the atta from the larger particles, since we have the atta, in that atta there will be maybe the impurities in that impurities may contain breakdown. Without breakdown, they contain some particles of that weight which are present in those atta. Some particles of the husk will be present in those atta. For that, before making a chapati or roti, we are going to use the sieve, so that whatever the powdered form of the atta should become, which can be used for the purpose of making the chapati and roti, and the impurities will remain in this only, in the sieve only. So that is nothing but sieving. So sieving can be explained or defined as sieving is the separation of the smaller tiny particles from the larger particles by using a sieve where the pores just allow the tiny particles pass through it. So where does it is used? It is used in the flour mill. It is used in the flour mill. In that flour mill, before making the flour, the wheat is separated from its impurities. In the flour mill, the wheat is separated from its impurities, where the impurities are the husk in the flour. So it can be used there in the wheat mill or in the flour mill. You can take it as flour mill. So this is about the question number 3. Now it is about the question number 4. I hope this is clear. Now question number 5th one. How will you separate sand and water from their mixture? How will you separate sand and water from their mixture? Is it possible to separate sand and water from their mixture? How we are going to do it? Here we can use two methods. Either method is right. Both the methods are right. You can use the both methods, or you can write three methods also. All the three methods. Now first method B is, we already know that sand is the heavy particles while the water is the lighter particle. Is it right? Yes. Sand is the heavier particle, water is the lighter particle. So if you take a container, in that container is put the sand as well as water, the sand is going to settle down at the bottom. Right? Sand is going to settle down at the bottom, remaining is nothing but liquid. That is nothing but it is the sedimentation process. After settling down that sand, we can separate the water by tilting this surface, this container. When we tilt that container, whatever the liquid which is present at the upside part is going to separate it. So water is separated by decantation as well as sand is also going to be separated. For this one, we are going to take another example also. One method is this one. Another method is filtration we can use. So in that filtration, we are going to pour all the mixture. In the filtration, we are going to pour all the mixture by taking a cloth material or by taking a funnel. In that funnel, we are going to use a cloth. So what will happen here? When you pour all the mixture here, the water which is present in that mixture is going to settle in this container, and whatever the sand particles which are there are going to remain in the filtrate, are going to remain in that this funnel or in the cloth, so that the sand particles are separated as well as this liquid particles are also separated by using a filtration method 1, or by the sedimentation method 2nd, or by which method? By the decantation method. Any one method is right, and in your paper they are given the sedimentation method. In their answer sheet they are given the decantation or sedimentation or filtration. Either method will be right method. It's up to you which method you are going to write. So all three methods are right. Since here the liquid is there, all three methods are right. Next question. 6th question. Is it possible to separate sugar mixed with wheat flour? If yes, how will you separate? How will you do it? Is it possible to separate sugar mixed with wheat flour? If it is yes, how we are going to separate sugar with the wheat flour? If it is possible, then how we are going to do it? How it is possible? So if you remember, each and every chapter is interlinked with each other. We already know that sugar is going to mix with water, right or not? Yes, it is. It is right that sugar is going to dissolve into water, as in the case of the salt. Salt is also going to dissolve in the water. In the same manner, sugar is also going to dissolve in the water. So this sugar mixed with this wheat flour in this question, is it possible to separate sugar mixed with the wheat flour? If yes, how we are going to do? The answer is yes. No. Answer is yes here. We are going to separate the sugar from the wheat flour. So if the answer is yes, how we are going to do it? How we are going to do it? Here we are going to take a container. Here we are going to take a container. In that container, we are going to put the mixture of the sugar as well as flour. In that container, we are going to add sugar and flour. Along with that, we are going to add lot of water. Excess quantity of water, high amount of water we are going to add here. Right? What will happen? What will happen here? The sugar which is present in the flour is going to mix with the water. We already know that the sugar is going to dissolve in the water. So sugar dissolves in the water, and flour it doesn't going to separated. So here I am going to use directly the filtration method. So by using all the material or by using filter paper, we are going to do the filtrate. When we do the filtration, the flour will remain in this container only. If we take the filtrate, the flour is going to remain in the filter paper or the clothing material, and the mixture of the water and the sugar is going to collect in another container. In another container, this container, sugar and water will be mixture will be collected in another container where flour is separated. So we already separated the flour. So remains what? Sugar and water. So how we are going to separate the sugar and water? By using evaporation method. By using evaporation method. Whatever the content we have here, the mixture we have here of sugar and water, it is going to heat it. We are going to heat that sugar and water using a kettle where probably know that water is going to boil out. Water is going to evaporate out. It is going to evaporate it. By the method of evaporation, water vapors are come out. It is going to get out from there. Remains one, sugar is going to remain in that kettle only. Sugar is going to remain in that kettle, and water vapors are going to get formed, and they are going to get out from the kettle. So that water vapors are separated as well as sugar is separated. We have separate flour as well as we get sugar. In the same manner, we want water also. So water is essential. If you leave that water as it is going to evaporate away from that kettle only. So it is not used. You can keep it in that same manner only. If you want to use that water, what we are going to use again are the opening of the kettle. We are going to use the plate which is having a ice. Where what happens? So whatever the water vapors is there, whatever water vapors are there, are going to condense and they are going to become liquid. Due to the condensation, they are going to become the liquid, and we are going to collect that water in another container. So we have separated the flour as well as sugar as well as water by using different processes. First, by the sedimentation, you can separate that thing, or by the filtration. By the filtration, we separate from the sugar. Sugar is going to dissolve in the water. From the sugar solution, which is mixed with the water, it is separated from the evaporation method, where evaporated water is going to get evaporated, and there is the formation of the water vapors. Those are separated from the sugar. We separated sugar from the water vapors. Then by the condensation, we are getting the water as liquid form. So this is the answer for the question number 6. Answer for the question number 6. And the remaining questions we are going to discuss in the next class. And try to revise all the chapter so that it will be easy to you to understand all the questions which we are discussing in the exercise questions. So remaining questions we are going to discuss in the next class. Up to that point, thank you, take care, stay well, stay home.